Hey everybody, it's Katie. This should be a pretty quick update for my 15 weeks. I'm 15 weeks pregnant today. It is May 9th and I'm officially caught up on all of the backlog of pregnancy vlogs that I had. Thank you all for bearing with me when I was uploading multiple vlogs per day. I know that not everybody is going to be interested in this part. I promise I will make other types of videos too, but I just really wanted to have all of those, all of those videos for my own records to be able to compare with my first pregnancy and all that stuff and be able to put them in order and all of that. So going forward, pregnancy stuff should be just about once a week, and then like I said, my other types of videos in there as well. I really don't have a whole lot to say this week. I saw my midwife that I've been seeing for years now, just my regular certified nurse midwife. I saw her 2 days ago, so I was, by my count, 2 days shy of 15 weeks. And by their count, 15 weeks and 4 days. A few things of note from my appointment. I actually lost a pound in the past month since the previous appointment. I was surprised by that because I did have a stomach bug for like a few days, but otherwise I think I've been eating okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just sort of a fluke. My uterus also was measuring like a little bit behind. It's a little bit worrisome to me just because it's the first time that's ever happened. My pregnancy with Alice, I was always exactly sort of where I was supposed to be, and this time because I was closer to 15-week mark, my uterus was still, kind of felt closer to the 14-week mark, so I hope that is not any sort of trend of anything. Heartbeat was good. My blood pressure is awesome, which makes me so happy because it was something I struggled with last time. I've always had a lot of anxiety in doctor's offices, just in regards to my blood pressure. I don't feel anxious, but my blood pressure always shoots up. So I've always had high readings, and especially towards the end of my pregnancy with Alice, it was it was pretty high, consistently, and they were concerned about preeclampsia and stuff. So I'm glad that so far things seem to be, I'm low, I'm in really good shape. The rest of the appointment was pretty much just chatting, asking questions. I really like my midwife as a person. I value her opinion, and she has a ton of experience. She's caught a few babies a week for 20 years. So she really knows what she's doing. I was able to ask her opinions on some local doulas, on the odds that since I had back labor with Alice, and I have a retroverted uterus, if there was a correlation there, and she thinks that there is, which is bad news, but now I kind of know going in, I'm going to do everything I can, especially towards the end of the pregnancy, to make sure that the baby is in a good position and try to avoid all the pressure really being in my back. Also, I talked to her about Group B strep because, as I mentioned on Facebook, that is a real concern of mine. I know that it's not a big deal for a lot of people, but I was positive for Group B strep with Alice, and despite getting the antibiotics, according to the protocol, and I needed several doses of them, Alice still got sick. She spent a week in the NICU with some sort of sepsis, some sort of infection in her blood, and it was never really determined exactly what caused it, but it was most likely the Group B strep. So maybe I'm colonized with a strain that is antibiotic resistant. That's true for about 10%. So I don't know. A really big focus for this pregnancy is going to be researching and figuring out different things I can do to not just fool the test. I don't want to just come up negative, at 35 weeks or whenever they test it. Yeah, the focus is not to have a negative test, it's to really have that bacteria under control, and have good bacteria kind of winning out and really be able to protect this next baby from any kind of infection there. So you'll hear me talk about that a lot, I'm sure. I have, in general, felt a lot better this week. I've had only a few short moments of nausea. I've been able to eat pretty much normally, had more energy. In general, I just feel really good. I have been super slammed with work again this week, so that's a little bit frustrating. I just don't feel like I have any time to do special things with Alice and to just relax and spend time with Mike and that kind of stuff, and also work on creative projects. And I really, I start to get kind of like bogged down when I am lacking that sort of creative time. Unfortunately, I think it's gonna be like another 2 or 3 weeks or so before things really slow down work-wise. I'll get through it somehow. But I do have my second trimester to-do list that I mentioned before sort of waiting for me. I'm able to check off very small items, but I'd really like some time to be able to work on things. I think I'm gonna do a separate video just kind of talking about, you know, what my priorities are and what those projects are gonna be sort of over the next, really over the summer. I feel like that's gonna be the bulk of my, you know, my time to accomplish things. So maybe it'll wrap into my summer goals, or, I don't know, but maybe you guys will have some tips for how to tackle some of those projects. So that's all I can think of right now. I actually haven't been able to think of a best thing yet, so I'm gonna work on that, and probably anything else that I remember that I've forgotten to mention, I will tack on a little bit later today. Okay, a few more little things. There are 2 things I want to get better about starting now because it's already too late. One is I have not been very good so far about putting on any kind of like lotion or body oil or anything, especially on my belly, and I did not get any stretch marks with Alice. They do say it's mostly genetic, and I think I just got lucky. But I had one day in the past week where I think I got like a little bit of heat rash or something. But like I said, so I've been in no routine. I've put like body butter or oil on like maybe twice. And there was one day this week where I came in, I was changing my clothes at the end of the day, and I looked down and my stomach was covered with like little tiny, it looked like little tiny like red stretch marks all over the place, like nuts. And I flipped out like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I don't know how I got like so big with Alice and didn't get any, and here I am at 14 weeks and like you know, just exploded like this. So by the next morning, I put on lotion, or I put on coconut oil right away. By the next morning, they were gone, so I think that was like kind of a false alarm, but it was my wake-up call that I need to get in the habit of doing that because, like I said, I don't think that's gonna like make or break you. I don't think that is really, you know, what's behind whether or not you get stretch marks, but it can't hurt. So I'm not gonna press my luck. The other thing is that I have totally fallen out of the habit of taking belly shots, like Mike and me taking belly shots once a week. With Alice, I was religious about it, and I did every single week, no matter where we were, the same kind of shot, wearing the same outfit, and it was awesome because at the end, I stitched all the pictures together and had like this progression, you know, where not a whole lot else changed except my belly, and that was really neat. So I plan to do the same thing, but I wanted Alice to be in these shots, and she is horrible to photograph at this age, so I guess I either have to just abandon her being in the pictures and be better about it, or, I don't know, figure out something else. But this first trimester, it was just harder on me, and I was just more tired, and I had a hard time convincing myself that at that point that it was important to, you know, put on the particular outfit and get in, you know, take the picture. So, like I said, I think I've only taken maybe 2 or 3 shots since the beginning of the pregnancy, and I already sort of regret that because I can see myself looking back and, you know, wishing that I had a better record. So going forward, I want to get better about that. I want to take at least weekly shots just for our own purposes, just so that it's not something I feel sad about. I've gotten some questions about breastfeeding and asking for me to talk about breastfeeding every week. Just questions about, am I still breastfeeding, blah, blah, blah. So instead of saying the same thing every week, I think I will only talk about it if there's a change. So as things are now, are pretty much the same that they were last time I talked about it. Alice is still nursing before her nap and before bed, but before bed it's very, very, very short. Sometimes she will literally nurse like 10 seconds on each side and that's it. Probably the max is like maybe 2 minutes, period. She's not wanting to like nurse for a long, long time like she used to. So really pretty minimal, and it does definitely still hurt. I'm not having like thrush symptoms, like no burning or anything like that. So I definitely think it's just pregnancy. It's just me being more sensitive. Does not feel awesome, but it's not killer, you know? It's manageable. So I'm just gonna continue going forward like we are and kind of you know, just be looking for any cues from her that she wants to make a change, and whatever. We'll just see. I will let you know if there are any changes. So the best thing about this week, I had a conversation with my boss about sort of, you know, the plans for, you know, when I'll probably go on leave and how long that leave will be. And I was expecting it to be pretty similar to my leave with Alice, which was, we had talked about taking 3 months off, but it really worked out to be 2 months because I ended up leaving, like going on leave before I intended to because I was just really, really exhausted. I was working full-time then. So towards the end of my pregnancy, I think it was probably 3 weeks before my due date, I had just kept reducing the number of hours I was in the office, and finally I think 3 weeks before my due date, I just said, okay, I'm just gonna work from home. And I was pretty much, he didn't really give me anything to do. I was able to just kind of like relax. So I talked about being off for 3 months after the baby was born, and it turned out to be, you know, he really wanted me to do stuff around the 2-month mark. So it worked out okay. It was around 3 months total. So I was expecting the same thing again. I, again, would plan to probably start taking leave in the beginning of October, even though I'm due at the end of October, because I think that that last month will just be hard. And I think I'd like to have the time with Alice. I'd like to, you know, just have the extra time to do things here. And we're not going to have the family help. My mom and Mike's mom probably will not be able to be here like they were for Alice. So I anticipate, you know, having a little bit more stress, more to do, feeling more tired, that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking I would probably go on leave around the beginning of October, and I was thinking in my head, and then I would come back like in January, but my boss, and I know this is just a starting point, but he said, well, I think you're going to need at least 6 months, which is awesome. I mean, granted, I don't get paid for that time, but you know, if that's kind of the time frame he has in mind, that means he's going to bring in somebody. He's going to bring in a temp, so there's going to be less pressure on me to, you know, force myself to come back before I'm really ready, or just be able to have like all that newborn time that I want to have. So that was a happy surprise. Again, who knows how it'll really play out. A lot could change between now and then, but that was very encouraging. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in a week.